Everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a nice little 6-game NBA slate for you. As far as this slate is, we do have a lot of injuries, but it's a little bit better than we've had. Let's go and get in that injury report, though. For Miami, Butler is questionable, and Jaquez is out. For Phoenix, Durant and Beal are out. For Philadelphia, Maxey is out, and Embiid is questionable. For Toronto, Quickly is out. For Orlando, Banchero is out. Carter is doubtful. For Indiana, Nimhard and Nesmith are out, and Shepard is doubtful. And then for Detroit, Hardaway Jr. is questionable. When we look at that, we do have some interesting options from the guards today. TJ McConnell, has some nice upside today in a pretty good matchup for a higher scoring matchup on this one. He's played fairly well in his role so far this season, and he should be able to get in that 19 to 25 fantasy point range, which gives him some utility today as a cheap play. Cade Cunningham looks absolutely fantastic in Chicago today. He's been absolutely having some monster games lately, and he has a high ceiling. His floor is actually pretty good at around 40 fantasy points, so he does need 46 to pay off here. Jaden Ivey looks interesting for Detroit here in this positive matchup. He's been playing very well with several 40 fantasy point games recently, and his price is still a little bit under what he has that potential of, but he does have a very low floor, so to keep that in mind. Van Vliet is very interesting for Houston. He's had some ups and downs this season, but right now he's playing fairly well, and his price has not really come up back up a ton yet, which I do expect to get back over $7,000. So you can kind of get him here a little bit cheaper. Jared McCain, for Philly's role has really boosted the last few games with his minutes rising, and he does have a pretty good ceiling with Maxey out. He's playing a lot of minutes. And then if we look at our shooting guards, Grayson Allen is in play here. He's a cheap play that's kind of contrarian, but he does have some upside, though he's kind of a boomer bust option. Zach LaVine can play here for Chicago. He has really been inconsistent, though, this season, though he just has that super high ceiling. His price has come down some to where it was where it has been, but it's still kind of a little bit higher than I'd like based on the potential. Benedict Mathurian should get a huge boost today, as he's had lately with all the injuries on the Pacers, and he's got a pretty good ceiling here. Um, I do think that he has a couple risk. He is a little bit risky at times, but he definitely has upside in this matchup with all the injuries. OG Anunoby also looks very interesting for the Knicks. He has some good potential. He's been pretty consistent lately, and he's probably, even though his prices come up some, he's still a little bit underpriced for his potential here. RJ Barrett has been the guy for Toronto with all the injuries there as well. Though he does have a low floor, but he has a high ceiling. And of course, in the last game, he really went crazy. But I don't expect him to do that again. But I do expect him to be a potent part of the offense. Jonathan Isaac is a very interesting value play for the slate. He has some potential here. His minutes are going to be limited, but he is a good fantasy point per minute guy. And with the injuries to the team, he's getting more usage as well. Looking at Tobias Harris, he's just a guy that is always going to get you about 30 fantasy points. Won't hurt you, won't help you too much though. So if you just need a filler at $6,300, he's a great option for that. If we look at our centers here, Karl Towns, he's going to be the top overall center. He's going to be hard to roster today at the price point he's at, but he is capable of a huge game, as he's had monster game after monster game recently. He really seems to be fitting in well with his new team. But at center, a lot of cheaper options like Goga Bitadze is going to be very interesting today. Now, he is in a timeshare, which makes his fantasy output go down sometimes, but he is capable of a big game as long as he can get the rebounds. He should get the points that's needed. He just has to get the rebounds. Looking at Miles Turner, he's kind of a contrarian play today, but he should get a good amount of minutes. He's been playing inconsistent minutes, though, so he does have a low floor. We also like Jacob Podol here for Toronto, as he has a high ceiling for this game, though he has been inconsistent recently. So while he's had 2 games in a row really good, we still want to see him be a little bit more consistent. And then Alperen Sengun obviously has one of the highest ceilings of centers outside of Karl Towns. His minutes have been inconsistent this season, but that hasn't stopped him from scoring over 40 fantasy points in quite a few games in a row, so he definitely draws a lot of potential today. With that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below.